Thank you for joining us for Identity Theft Post-Stroke Recovery, an important conversation organized by Digimentors, Stroke Onward, and the Indian Journal of Medical Ethics. We have several great panels planned for today. Our host is Sri Srinivasan, CEO and co-founder of Digimentors and co-host of the annual Nobel Peace Conference. Let's turn it over to Sri.
Hello, everyone. It is now 11 a.m. Eastern Time in New York City. It's 8 a.m. in California, and it's just in the evening right now in India. And we're grateful to everyone watching around the world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with us. This is such an important conversation, and we have a great group of people to talk about the effects of stroke and how we can recover from it, and the idea of moving forward. That's the whole idea here. Anyone you know in your family who has had stroke, or anyone in your circles, please make sure they and their families know about this. You can share this. We are live right now on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and you can also see us on scroll.in and its huge audience, the very important independent news website in India. So I want everybody to tag a friend right now, wherever you're watching, and let them know that they can watch us now, right now, or later. We need to get as many people to know about this as possible. This is produced in conjunction with Stroke Onward. You'll be hearing a lot about them, and the Indian Journal of Medical Ethics. And we are using this book as the excuse to gather together. And this book is the second edition of Identity Theft, Rediscovering Ourselves After Stroke. The authors will be here, Deborah Meyerson and Steve Zuckerman, and they are the co-founders of Stroke Onward. We want to make sure everybody is able to get this book. You can find it on Amazon globally. There isn't an Indian edition yet, and if you know someone who can publish an Indian edition, an affordable Indian edition, would love to bring that to the audience in India as well. So please settle in and make sure that you get a chance to talk to us. You can use whatever platform you're on. You can message us by sending a message or comment, and we'll put it on the screen. So tell us where you are in the world, tell us where you're watching from, and tell us about any experience you have had with stroke in your family, yourself, your circles. And also, let's make sure that if you have any questions, we can ask it of the experts, because I'm going to ask for the card of everybody who's speaking to be put back up so you can see the amazing range of people who will be speaking and will be available to you for the next hour. We're going to hear from the authors of that book, Deb Meyerson and Steve Zuckerman. You're going to hear from a board member at Stroke Onward, Mukul Pandya. You're going to hear from one of the most important surgeons dealing with stroke and the topics around the topics we're working on. Dr. Sanjay Nagral will be with us. Vidya Bhandari is a caregiver, and she'll be with us. A neuropsychologist, Dr. Charu Raghavan, and Dr. Vikram Huded will be with us, the president of the Indian Stroke Association and the CEO of Stroke Forward, Liz Wolfson. What an amazing group of people. We're so grateful to each of them for being with us, for giving us their time at this very important moment. And we want to get started, and please share where you're watching from right now. We want to bring those comments in and have people watching tell us. So there's John Borstein is watching from New York. John, thank you for being here. We know that there are people like him. He's watching on 2 platforms. He's watching on LinkedIn as well. He says, no stroke, although I do have a stent. That is so interesting. So everyone, share this show with your friends and tell us where you're watching from. I see Lois is watching, and she says she's watching from New Jersey. Thank you for being here. And folks, don't be shy. Talk to us so that we can talk back and give you information that you need. So we're going to start with, as Angela's joining us as well. Thank you very much for being here. We're going to start by talking to the authors of this book, Identity Theft, Rediscovering Ourselves After Stroke. We are so grateful that they are able to join us. Deb Meyerson, PhD, co-founder of Stroke Onward, stroke survivor, Stanford University School of Education. Steve Zuckerman, co-founder, stroke partner, and Stroke Onward, and a care partner. And they're the co-authors of Identity Theft. Let's say hi.
Hi.
Hello, welcome. It's early in California. In New York, it's already 11. You folks are up early. Tell us where you are and how you're feeling at this moment.
Really good. Yeah.
We're in Northern California and just thrilled to be here. And thank you, Sri, and everyone who's helped put this together. We're thrilled for the conversation. Look forward to it.
Thank you. So one of the things that might surprise people is that one of the authors of this book is someone who survived stroke and has, in fact, thrived after that. And she's here with us. That's Deb. So Deb, do you want to get us going? Tell us a little bit about your journey. And Steve, both of you can join in and talk to us. By the way, I want to say now people are less shy. So we've gotten more comments of people watching. Here is Rudra watching from Pune. I see Hannah's from Chicago. Sunita's looking forward to this conversation from Madrid. Look at that, all over. Kirsten is a stroke survivor from Massachusetts. Welcome, Kirsten. Thank you for being here. Just great to see everybody coming on here. And please tag a friend. Please share this so that we can all learn together. Over to you, folks.
I couldn't get my old life back. So that makes me ask, who am I now? Writing a book, it was my search for an answer. For me and other survivors, then showing what I learned. The emotional journey is so important but it is no systems to support that.
Yeah, and I'll just say when Deb first said she wanted to write a book, and at that time her speech and communication was far less good than it is now. I thought she was nuts. She had written academic books. I had, lived through that with her, and that was stressful enough. And I couldn't imagine. In the end, it was the best thing that ever could have happened, because it really did become Deb's journey to figure out what she needed to do to live a full life in the face of disabilities that, clearly she didn't want to have, and what we needed to do as a couple to live as full a life as we possibly could. So as usual, Deb was right. I was wrong. There's a pattern there. But writing the book and we just learned that so many people were struggling with this and nobody was talking about it. And that's why we hope to get the book in people's hands, and why we started Stroke Onward, to sort of advance that work.
Thank you. There was another soul with us right behind you. So I'm sure people are wondering who that was, and tell us about your friend there.
I assume you're talking about our golden doodle, Rusty, who's our constant companion, and we put her to work whenever we can.
And she looked very good on camera. So let's talk about the journey that Deb had. What was the timeline of when she had the stroke? What did that look like, feel like to you, Steve? And what was that part of that journey?
We added two chapters.
Don't go there yet. Yeah, no, I think just on the journey, Deb's stroke was in 2010. For a long time, we basically said, okay, this is going to be a blip. Work hard, get your capabilities back. I'm an eternal optimist. Deb's a workhorse. And, we just thought we're going to get back to life as we knew it. And we started by saying it was going to be a 6-month blip, then a 12-month, then a 2-year. And it was really after 3 years when Deb had to give up her tenured faculty position at Stanford, because she couldn't go back to that role, that identity crisis kicked in. And that's what led Deb to want to write the book and really put us on the path forward. So, it was, some might say we were being unrealistic in thinking we'd get back to life as we knew it, but that was also good motivation for us to work hard. And, I don't think it was unhealthy. Turned out to be wrong. But that's okay. We had to make a pivot, and that started the kind of a new journey for us.
And it's gone so well. I mean, exceeding everyone's expectations, I'm sure, not just the two of you, but also the circles around you, because everybody helps and pitches in, I am sure. For those who are watching and may not realize it, that term tenured professor at Stanford, that is, first of all, one of the highest honors in academia anywhere in the world. And I can understand, having been a professor at Columbia myself, that when you leave that, in my case, I left on my own volition. In Deb's case, not voluntarily. That means so much to you. It is your identity, and that's why the name of this book is so perfect. Because when you first look at it, it's identity theft. Oh, is this one of those technical books about something else? But no, this is about your identities, as important to some folks as their mental health, their physical health, and everything else. So can you talk about that a little bit?
You want to?
No.
I think that was what Deb discovered, turning the lens of her academic experience, which included a lot of work around identity, on her own situation, was just the realization that, yes, we wish we could have, and we hope every stroke survivor can recover all their lost capabilities. But we've had survivors tell us, even though I can pretty much do everything I used to do, having gone through the journey of stroke, I still feel different.
Yeah.
And Deb really discovered, and now what we're trying to advance and share, is that process of, who am I now? Who do I want to be now? How can I live the best life with the capabilities I have, as well as continuing to regain more, is just as an important part of the recovery journey as the medical side. And yet, unfortunately, the healthcare system doesn't put much attention at all on that. And, we know a lot more about the US system than the India system, but from talking to folks, our sense is that's true in both countries and around the world.
Sure, that's so important. Thank you. Kijwana is watching. Live in Denver, Colorado. Just commemorated my 12-year stroke anniversary last week, so this video will be very helpful to me at this difficult time. Thank you for being here. Douglas is watching from Trumbull, Connecticut, and Jason is watching from Atlanta, 2017 stroke and aneurysm survivor. Rudra is watching from Oslo in Norway, and Jackie from Boston in Massachusetts. How do you feel hearing all of these countries and names and people coming up, cities coming up, Steve and Deb? What does this mean to you?
It's so important. I am really thank you for saying it.
And I think one of the things that's just threaded throughout our work and our experience is the importance of meaning and purpose in life. And, needless to say, Deb lives with a ton of frustration, but knowing that somehow all that she's done is touching people and getting to people, I think I can say for her is
it's really important.
So we want to just keep telling everyone to share this video, because you're going to learn so much, not from just these folks, but from the others who are going to be joining us in just a few minutes. I'd like to just see that card again of everybody who's here while we say hi to Robin, who's a South Carolina survivor. Thank you, Robin, for being here. We want to get a sense of everybody who's going to be speaking to us. As you can see, this is a global production and with a global audience. You're going to meet Dr. Sanjay Nagral, Vidya Bandari, Charu Raghavan, Vikram Hudaid, who's the president of the Indian Stroke Association, the CEO of Stroke Onward. You're going to meet all of these great people, and they're going to be part of this conversation. And I do have some more questions for you, but I just want to bring in some of these other comments that are coming in. I see the stroke survivor. 14 years ago, I had one. Not only I survived the stroke, but if you see me today, nobody can say that you had a stroke. I'm so happy to hear that. Terrence is watching from Singapore. Thank you. Claire, a survivor from Houston. Thank you for being here. And Shob says, I speak 6 languages, and that is amazing that you're able to do that. Jordan from Brooklyn, Elizabeth from Wisconsin. And Shob says, I was 46 when I had a stroke. But that is really important to understand that this can happen at any age. What are the things you learned, Steve, medically about this? We'll obviously be talking to doctors, but from a layperson's point of view, from a care partner's point of view, what did you learn about about what this means and how it impacts everybody?
I mean, I'll let the medical professionals talk about the medical side. I think as a care partner, and if there are any care partners out there with us, I think one of the most challenging things is that clearly what Deb has gone through and what a survivor goes through is so much more traumatic than what a loved one next to them goes through. And yet it is a trauma for a loved one. And sometimes because of the comparison, it's very hard for a care partner to look out for themselves, to ask for help. Very often we hear people just sort of buckle down and feel very much alone because in many cases like ours, you've sort of lost your primary partner, at least for a period of time in terms of collaborating in life. You're there supporting them. There's something called the ring theory of support. That's kind of a bullseye, and the person with the trauma is in the middle, and a loved one, the person closest to them, is in the next ring, and then maybe kids and extended family in the third ring. And it's pretty obvious that your job outside of the center is to help people inside of you. My job was to support Deb. What's a little less obvious and was harder for me is that I also need to look outside to other people and ask them for help. And that's part of the journey that I would urge anybody close to somebody with stroke is don't suppress your own needs, because if you're not healthy physically and emotionally, you're not going to be any help to the person you love and you're trying to support.
I totally agree about that. In other contexts, I've been a caregiver and care partner, so I understand. Folks, this is the book that they've written. It's called Identity Theft: Rediscovering Ourselves After Stroke. I want to read you a blurb from one of the most famous people on the internet, and that's Adam Grant, the #1 best-selling author of Hidden Potential, Think Again, and Option B. He says, Identity Theft is the most powerful book I have read on the psychological experience of having and recovering from a stroke. It is a moving memoir and a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the strength and spirit of Deb, and as well as Steve, and what they've done coming together to make sure that she does well, they do well, and now trying to help people around the world. 800,000 people get stroke every year in the United States, 13 million people around the world. And that tells you how big a problem this is. And that's why we need organizations like this so that we can help and understand what is going on. And later on, you'll meet the CEO of Stroke Forward. Now, you turned your own experience into Stroke Onward, a book, a documentary, and a movement. How did the work itself become part of the recovery? And what would you say to survivors and families searching for that kind of purpose in their own lives?
These things mix meaning and purpose through the back to the life. It's important to me. The book is central from the central part of my recovery.
You want me to jump in?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm going to just take a little bit of an aside for those who don't know. So a common, about 1/3 of all stroke survivors suffer from a condition called aphasia, which is a communication disorder. And that is probably Deb's most significant disability. And in her case, it's what they call expressive aphasia, which means she's got clear thoughts in her head, and yet it's difficult for her to turn them into words, whether those are spoken words or written words. And it's not hard to imagine just how incredibly frustrating that is. And one of the things is there are times when her speech is better, and early in the morning is one of the times that it's tough. So apologies, but at this early hour, I feel for Deb, who's just having a tough time getting the words out. So sorry, babe. I think to your point, this whole journey for us was driven by the human desire to have meaning and purpose in your life, and for Deb personally to have meaning and purpose. She couldn't be the educator or the kind of educator that she had trained all her life and worked 30 years as a faculty member to do. And so she had to find another way. And that way was to combine her academic background and her lived experience. Obviously, that's she has a very specialized experience, but what we've learned talking to hundreds, if not thousands of stroke survivors, is that exploration of, okay, I can't do what I used to do the way I wanted to do it, but what's really important to me, and how can I find a way to live those values, those interests? And that really is the emotional journey in recovery, is to say, how do you move on, not get back to where you were, but still build a new and different life that's true to who you are. That's the identity piece. And that really was what Deb uncovered in 5 years of research and writing identity theft.
Thank you. We have a video we want to play, and then we'll come back to you with some questions.
Just a few minute recording of me speaking. 11 Labs software created a voice clone for me. Now I can enter a script like this one, and it will speak for me. Some people ask me if I've worked so hard to regain my speech, why do I want to use a computer to speak for me? First, it takes me a long time to practice a formal talk, probably 2 hours for every 1 minute I deliver. Using 11 Labs, I can give more talks. I can make more impact. Second, I'm trying to rebuild my life with fun things, not just making an impact. If I spend less time practicing, I have more time to do the things that make life fun for me, like time with family and friends, walking, cycling, traveling. Third, I use the software to help me practice my talks, which really is my ongoing speech therapy. Listening to a sentence before I practice it is really helpful. It feels so much better to hear it in my own voice. Finally, some topics are particularly hard for me to talk about. Steve and I were invited to do a podcast about grief. As I was rehearsing what I planned to say, Steve saw me getting depressed. I was practicing over and over some of the most painful stories of my recovery journey. Steve suggested I stop. It was making me miserable. I didn't do the show. But he brought my voice into the conversation using a script I wrote and my 11 Labs voice. Like any tool, speech clone software won't be right for everyone. But AI is driving such rapid technology change, and it is creating so many exciting developments for both improved rehabilitation and adaptation. Both of those can help survivors live more rewarding lives.
There you have it. That's her 11 Labs voice clone. So 11 Labs is the name of the company. They spelled out ELEVEN Labs. and that's her cloned voice. So you type something, right, and it shows up like that. Steve, to me, that's like magic. And the way it sounds to me like her, you of course know the difference, Steve, and your friends and family watching will know the difference. But to someone like me, it's almost miraculous. How do you feel about that?
So I am really impressed. 2 years ago, I am really not happy.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about is we often give talks together, and it's hard for Deb to get into the nuanced thinking that she's doing. And so it would be frequently me that would have to share what I know from our talking she was thinking. Whereas now, having the added time to write it into a script and then let her cloned voice speak it, lets her share more of the nuance. And I'll just say, you know, that use of technology was one of 6 kind of observations we made in the second edition. In the second edition, we added 2 chapters, one of which is about systems change, and the other is about just some observations from 5 years of living and working together that we added to the first edition, and the use of technology was one of those.
Yeah.
Folks, we have people watching all over. Look at Shirley from Fort Wayne, Brooke from St. Joseph Island in Ontario, Indiana. Shirley's here. We also have Butch watching from Hobe Sounds, Florida. And Michael says, wonderful job, Deborah. And that's really nice to hear that. Folks, the book is called Identity Theft, Rediscovering Ourselves After Stroke. And you can find it's Meyerson and Zuckerman, and there on the screen, you see them there. I am sorry that we're going to sort of wrap up this part of the conversation, but they're going to stand by and join us at the end. Is that okay, folks?
Thank you so much, Sri.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to move on with the program, but you're going to get a chance to hear them. One of the questions that came up was, is it possible to get a contact list of speakers on the panel? Well, you'll be able to contact Stroke Onward. Please, everyone, go to strokeonward.org. You can support Stroke Onward by looking up what they're doing, learning about them, making a donation. There's so much you can do, and you're going to make the CEO of Stroke Onward a little bit later. So this is a great opportunity for you to go onto your phones right now, follow Stroke Onward, and Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, as well as TikTok. The website is strokeonward.org. Strokeonward.org. Everyone, please share this with your friends and family, and know that this is a very important opportunity for your friends and family to learn about stroke. But also, you saw that the way they're using these new tools and other ways to communicate, that it will make a difference for folks. It won't work for everybody. Of course, we know that. But this is a chance for folks to learn and to grow together. And this is, of course, something that is changing all the time. And we are so grateful that you're with us. Tell us where you're watching from. Tag a friend on the various platforms we're on so that they can join us live or later. And if you're watching on replay, thank you for being here. Folks, I'm Sri Srinivasan, your host, and we're ready for our next guest. We have a great overall panel, but our next guest is Dr. Sanjay Nagral. He's a surgeon, the chairperson of the Forum for the Medical Ethics Society in India. And we are just so happy that he's here with us. He's also with the Indian Journal of Medical Ethics. Hi, Sanjay.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. Tell us where you are at the moment and what you thought of that first part of the conversation that we had.
Yeah, thank you, Sri. And well, first of all, let me say what a pleasure it is to be here with all of you. So I'm in Mumbai, a long way away from where you are. It's raining here. It's about 9 o'clock in the night. So, but as you know, in India, we have a late dinner, so we still have to have our dinners, most of us. But
we talked about this before. People in some parts of India will eat dinner at 10:30, but normally about 8:39, and that's one of just the interesting things about how culture affects how people eat and part of their health. I myself am pre-diabetic, and so one of the things I'm learning is that somebody made a joke that Indians are, or especially people from Kerala, like I am, Kerala State, we're all pre-diabetic anyway.
You bet, you're carrying the genes. So, let me start by a small correction, Shri. That so, of course, I'm a surgeon, but I have nothing to do with stroke. I do abdominal surgery, but I'm here, of course, representing the Forum for Medical Ethics and the Indian Journal of Medical Ethics. We are collaborating on this.
Thank you. So, tell us about the Forum for Medical Ethics. Tell us about the journal. All of that, I'd like to hear.
Sure. So, it actually started in the early 90s. I was just a postgraduate in medicine. And so it sort of began with a group of medical professionals in Mumbai who had a sense of unease with what was going on in terms of the trajectory of healthcare in India. And there were lots of controversies in the public eye. There were scandals around kidney transplants, for example, kidneys being removed from poor people, being transplanted into rich, including foreigners who would come into India. There were a lot of debate around the whole issue of female feticide, wherein, the girl child was at one time, and now that still is a problem, but it's perhaps much lesser, but was being aborted. It's a reflection of how India tends to look at the girl child, and so on and so forth. So there was a lot of churning, and this group came together. You can say it was almost like a bit of an internal rebellion of doctors coming out and saying that we think the medical profession needs to reflect on how we are going. And the lens we used, of course, was ethics. But in fact, it was actually a bit of activism. So what later coalesced as the Forum for Medical Ethics was actually those of us who were troubled, who were active in various public movements, social movements, who sort of combined with a bit of academic connections with ethics. And that's how the forum was born. And there were two main things that this forum has been doing. The first is the Indian Journal of Medical Ethics, which in fact is our flagship activity. It's quite old now, started as a small little publication, but now is a fully indexed medical journal, peer-reviewed. It's indexed on the National Library of Medicine, so therefore on PubMed. But I think what's unique about this journal is perhaps that it's one of the only publications of its kind from South Asia. But not just that, but it's a journal which actually has given space, not just to for those from the healthcare profession, but from many disciplines: public health, philosophy, law, and of course, even those we have had several patient voices. Patients writing, caregivers writing. So we are very clear that we want it to become a platform for all those who are part of healthcare, and especially those who normally don't get access to be heard. And so it's a very conscious decision on our part that we give them the platform. Incidentally, it's a full text, online, free. We believe completely that anything around this kind of activity should be open access as a matter of principle. We do not accept any funding or advertisements from either pharma or healthcare industry. We see it as a conflict of interest, which of course means that we have a fair amount of pressure in terms of financial sustainability, but we manage with a lot of voluntary work and donations. We also have a small platform called the National Bioethics Conferences, which we hold every 2 years. In fact, we now have had 10, and the 11th one will be held early next year, where people get together from all over India, and it's almost like everyone involved with moving towards a more humane form of healthcare. Those who are interested in healthcare becoming patient-centric, people-centric, who get together and debate, discuss, and there's a feeling of solidarity. So these are the two main activities of the Forum for Medical Ethics.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. And I love this idea that what you're doing is free and available, full text. And you can see at the bottom there, it says, help the IJME keep its content free. They're asking for support as little as 500 rupees. That's about $5. So folks in India, you can afford 500 rupees right now. Please go to the website, ijme.in, and make a donation. It will help them support programs like what you're watching now, but all the other great things that they do already. And this really is so important. And for those of us abroad, we may not be able to donate directly, but we can support by getting the word out, talking to our friends in India and South Asia, and helping get recognition to these issues. And as Dr. Sanjay said, there are so many attitudes, cultural attitudes, that affect medical ethics. And I had the honor of being on a bioethics steering committee, even though I know very little about medicine myself. As a communicator, I was on a Columbia University bioethics steering committee, and I learned so much. And I was able to bring not just my communication skills, such as they are, Doc, but also the idea that we should look globally and think globally in all of this. So we really appreciate everything you've shared. And I know you will also come back and join us in a little bit. Anything you'd like to add before you go, Ganesh? And you can say hi to Ganesh from Chennai. So Doc, anything else you'd like to say before we...
Just to say that we are very happy to be partnering here. And one reason we are here is because even in India, patients groups, patients' rights groups, our natural allies, and we've been working with them. And a lot of change in India, actually, historically, reforms in healthcare have come from patients and patient groups. So I thought I'd just put that out, which may be of interest for the audience.
Sure, that is absolutely true. And you'll be staying, and we'll gather in a little bit again together. So thank you very much, Doc. And now we are ready for our next panel. Thank you for watching, everyone. Tag us, tell us where you're watching from, follow the various accounts we're talking about. You can see the ticker at the bottom. Mark says, hi, Shirley. Mark Brody from Indianola in Iowa. So many folks watching. Trish from Florida, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. And Terrence says, I totally agree with Deborah on the use of technology to help us in communicating, which is really, really important. And technology and AI can help people with aphasia to overcome challenges we have in articulating our thoughts. It does not replace our thoughts, but it helps us to have a voice. If you missed that part of the conversation, the good news is that everything we do will rerun on all our platforms, so you can watch us then. But now we're ready for our next panel. And thank you, everybody, for staying with us. Our guests are Dr. Charu Raghavan, who's a neuropsychologist at Pune Hospital and Research Center, and Dr. Vikram Huded, who is president of the Indian Stroke Association. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for being with us. We are very grateful to have you both here. Hi, Dr. Charu. Hi, Dr. Vikram. Thank you for being here. Tell us where you are and where you're joining us from. Charu, we'll start with you.
Hi, I am from Pune, India, and I'm really happy to be a part of this panel. It's a topic I'm very passionate about, so thank you for inviting me.
Great. We want to hear from you and what you've been thinking about. What did you make of Deb and Steve? You've been interacting them with a little bit over the last few weeks as we pulled this together, and you know about the book and you watched them just now. What are your thoughts?
I have to say I love this book. I hadn't heard about it till I got to hear about this panel discussion, and I thought that's so relevant. I should go and read it. And I have to say it was so touching. It's a topic that I work with all the time as a neuropsychologist. So I'm so glad that Deb and Steve have put their thoughts in this book and their experiences. I think everyone should read it. It's really moving. And it brings hope as well somewhere.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's go to Dr. Vikram Huded. You're president of the Indian Stroke Association. Where are you right now, Vikram?
Yeah, I am in Bangalore. I'm an intervention neurologist in Health Bangalore.
Okay, thank you for what you do every day. By the way, between the two of you, you have so many degrees. I couldn't even start to read the both of you have. I think I counted 6 or 7, but that's pretty amazing. Vikram, what did you make of that conversation? What did you make of this book? Your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic conversation they had, and main thing is patients who had stroke, they should not lose hope. I think the rehabilitation, not only physical, speech, occupation, and psychological, it takes time. So I always give example that when child is born, the child doesn't know how to talk and walk. It takes time. We need to train the brain. In that way, same thing. I think they did the speech therapy, they did physiotherapy, and with time, the surrounding part of the brain, which is normal, will take over the function, and that's how the improvement happens. And it is a stressful journey, and looking at them, I think she has done remarkably well, and with the new AI and all, it is really helping for rehab.
Yes, that's great. And you heard what he said, folks. The most important thing for stroke victims is not to lose hope. We don't want to talk about kind of false hope, right, Doc? That's also important, but the hope matters, and families matter, and the care partner matters. All of that has an impact, and so we're so grateful that you're with us. One of the things that I want to hear from each of you is what is happening in India today with stroke, and what is your own experience? How is technology, how is society, all of that affecting the treatment of stroke in India? So let's go to Dr. Charu to help us think this through.
So in India as well as abroad, the first point of contact for anyone with a stroke is a doctor, followed by either a physiotherapist or occupational therapist or speech therapist. So a neuropsychologist kind of steps in later on a needs basis if they're referred. So that, I feel, is something that we need to kind of think about, really, because with the kind of damage that stroke can bring, it is very unlikely that cognition or behavior or mood is completely unaffected in every single person who's had a stroke. So every single person needs to be screened, but the kinds of cases that I usually see are also kind of really inspiring, and there's a lot we can do with them. So people come to me when, especially they refer to me if they're young and there's like a pressure to go back to work, to studying, or if they're unable to participate in therapy because of attention problems or because of movement difficulties, but combined with kind of speech difficulties and difficulty with cognition. So then I play a little part in trying to dissect the cognitive role and bring up some strategies to help. There are also people who approach me because there are behavior changes in their loved ones or mood-related changes. The person's not interested or not participating. So these are the kinds of patients that I see now, and we also get to do a lot of work with them.
And we've seen some of the stats that have been going across the screen about the number of strokes happening in India, and so this is so important. What are the warning signs that we should be aware of? Let me go to Dr. Vikram on this. What are the warning signs? And then, of course, how do we prevent as much as possible something like this?
Yeah, so brain stroke can affect any part of the brain, and the brain has various functions. So people can remember the mnemonic: be fast. B is for balance. If there is a sudden imbalance. E for eye vision, either they can have blurred vision or double vision. F for facial asymmetry, like if you ask them to smile, the face will go to one side. A for arm weakness, like if you ask them to lift both, one hand will go down. S for speech disturbance, like they can have slurred speech, or they can stop speaking, or they can talk irrelevantly. So these are the main symptoms of brain stroke, and it should be sudden. And T is time to rush to stroke ready hospital. As you know, since last more than 20 years of, so if a patient with a stroke, if they reach a stroke ready hospital within 4.5 hours time window, we can give clot buster injection. Okay. And if there is a large vessel occlusion, now we have a procedure called mechanical thrombectomy, where we put a small tube from the leg artery into the brain artery, and we can remove the clot which is blocking the blood flow to the brain. So earlier, this treatment was available up to 6 hours time window. Now, good news is, in some of the cases, we can extend these thrombectomy facilities up to 24 hours time window.
Wow.
If we do this, okay, so then we can save a lot of brain. And if we save the brain, the recovery will be faster. So to create this awareness, Indian Stroke Association, we have started Save the Brain initiative, where we are doing social media ads for this BFAST symptom, and so that they can reach the nearest stroke-ready hospital, so that we can save the brain.
Excellent. I just want to show you what the American Stroke Association does. They're your partners, I'm sure, in things. They use a very similar but slightly different. They also added an E there, BFAST, right? And balance, eye vision changes, face dropping or twisting, arm weakness, speech difficulty, and time to call 911. Is there any reason we shouldn't be reacting? You said this has to be sudden. Are there times when people overreact, or is it better to be overreacting than underreacting?
Yeah, I think it is better to overreact. Any sudden symptom, you need to rush. And the main issue with brain stroke is that it is a painless disorder. So that's why people neglect it. So that's why it is important to create awareness in schools. See, we are trying to get these symptoms which are time sensitive. For example, brain stroke, heart attack, and trauma. If these can be taught in high school, 8th standard, 9th standard, so that is the time where they can learn about these conditions. So then they will reach faster, and treatment can be given. So even though these things are available in India, the recent ICMR study has told that thrombolysis, which is a clot buster injection, which is available in India since more than 20 years, the rate is less than 5%. Only less than 5% of stroke patients reach the hospital in time, and they receive this treatment. And mechanical thrombectomy, where the window is up to 24 hours time window, in India, the mechanical thrombectomy rate is 0.7%, less than 1%.
Wow.
Okay. So that's why it is important that we need to create a lot of awareness. And also in ICMR study, they have told around nearly 30% of brain stroke patients will die. Nearly 30% will have disability, and remaining 30% will become normal. So I think as you know, in heart attack, either the patient will survive or they will die. Whereas in brain stroke, because of the disability, it affects not only an individual. Brain stroke, it is a disease of the family. Actually, one more person is required to look after the patient.
Sure.
And disability, yeah. So that's why it is important to cultivate in kids that we need to prevent brain stroke. It is a preventable condition. And even if you develop symptom, you need to reach a right hospital in time so that it can be reversed. And even though if you have a symptom and have disability, you should not lose hope. You should do aggressive rehabilitation, which is available nowadays, and they can recover. And recover may not happen in 3 months, 6 months. It may take 1 year, 2 years.
Or longer. It might take longer, doctor.
It may be longer also.
Yeah, take longer. Dr. Charu, your thoughts on this, and this idea that it's preventable is not always clear to everybody.
So I think I can talk about people who come to me are usually very worried about, am I going to recover? Am I going to go back to being normal? And I feel like since we're on the topic of identity, we really need to kind of start talking about who the person is, also along with what it is that they want to do or they could do. So the minute we start talking about it early on in rehab, you can access more of the patient's self-awareness and their motivation and their mood, and you can support their emotional adjustment as well. So I would feel like in all kinds of spaces, talking about the person's self is so important.
Got it. And that's something that we should all be thinking about. Really, really appreciate your thoughts. A final thought from each of you, and of course, you'll also stick around for the questions afterwards. So, Dr. Charu, you first.
I just feel like the landscape for stroke care is really, really kind of so alive now. So many innovations happening. I feel like India is kind of coming up with its own model of rehab care, because we are very few professionals, neuropsychologists for like a vast population. So tele rehab and caregiver education, I think we're doing really well with this. And I think the Indian Stroke Association is doing a lot in terms of advertising about, preventative measures as well. So hopefully the landscape will look better and better as we go with all these efforts.
Thank you. And we appreciate everything you're doing. So let's go now to Dr. Vikram.
Sri, so 80% of brain stroke can be prevented. So it is important that I need to talk about prevention. Hypertension is the most common risk factor. So if by 35, 40 years of age, if you check your BP and control it, we can prevent stroke. Along with that, other risk factors like diabetes, smoking, alcohol consumption, and these things, if we can control. And also now with the recent CREST-2 trial, we can do carotid Doppler in high-risk cases. So if we can identify there is a blockage, we can give medications and we can prevent stroke. One more important risk factor which people neglect is obstructive sleep apnea. So if we are having snoring and there is an obstruction, these are the risk factors. If we control, so we can prevent brain stroke.
So if I can just add, as a person who has sleep apnea and has bothered everybody who has had to be near me, even in a house, people have complained that if they're in other bedrooms, it's a problem. Please work on your sleep apnea. The technology has improved. And I can tell you, Doc, about 15 years ago, I got one of those CPAP machines, and I put it on. It was like you're flying a MiG or a F-26 fighter pilot, and I felt I was gasping, and I said no. But the new technology is so much better. So I'm just reaching out to everybody who has sleep apnea, who snores, who irritates their sleeping partner. Please work on it. It's not just about the noise. You're doing damage to yourself. And the new technology with the new, there are other kinds of technology, but I'm still using a CPAP machine. They call it a pillow cover. I forget what it's called, pillow hose or something. And then it's just like this. And there's not a sound. There's not a sound. And I have multiple folks in my entire apartment who are so grateful that I'm using this now. So thank you very much. A final thought from you, Doc, about sleep apnea. I jumped in. I know you had more to say, but I jumped in because
I think that is one of the risk factors. These risk factors, if we can control.
Does every Indian snore? Is that true? Or an Indian man? Is that what happens?
No, most of the adults snore, but snoring is okay, but it should not cause severe OSA, moderate to severe OSA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Doc. And folks, we have so many comments coming in with people watching around the world. We're so grateful to everybody. The doctors will join us again in just a little bit. Let me see who's here. Tim Sohn is watching from Pennsylvania. Welcome, Tim. Very happy to have you. Angie is watching. Angela Kirk is here. Thank you very much. Mark says AI can also help people with aphasia practice their speech, writing, reading. Check out Obla AI and Aphasia GPT. Wow, that's pretty cool. And Kumu had a question about the Indian government's role in all of this. And please save that question. We will come to you with that question a little bit later. Mark's watching in Levittown, Pennsylvania. Be fast is helpful to know. The point about stroke could be preventable is surely very helpful. Sunita says, thank you. I had firsthand experience with my father, who was one morning could not hold his pen. We could prevent it because despite being from a small town in India, we had immediate access to care. How nice is that? How important is that? And that's why we should all pay attention. This is about families paying attention. We can prevent, in their case, they could prevent a full-blown stroke. So that's very important for us to know and to think about. Now we are ready for our next speakers to join us, folks. We are going to be taking your questions in just a few minutes. But let's move on to our next speakers. They are Mukul Pandya, who is a board member at Stroke Onward and a stroke survivor, and Vidya Bhandari, who's a caregiver for a stroke survivor. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. And please welcome Mukul and Vidya. Thank you very much for both of you for being here. I have had the honor of knowing Mukul for 30 plus years, and he is an amazing journalist, writer, teacher, mentor, friend who had his health issues. He's going to tell us about them, especially the stroke that he went through, and as a result of that, we would have might in another time with another person not been able to see not just what he has done as a writer and thinker, but someone who's bringing together people to help with stroke. He is a board member of Stroke Onward, and that's why we're so happy to have him here and be part of this journey with us. Thank you very much, Mukul, for being here. How are you feeling about this first 45, 50 minutes of what you've seen, what you've heard? You're the one who about this book and everything else, so thank you so much.
It's wonderful. I thought that the opening segment with Deb and Sri and Steve was so fantastic and so deeply moving. And Sanjay spoke so well about the important work that the Indian Journal of Medical Ethics is doing, and listening to Dr. Charu and Dr.
Dr. Vikram.
And Dr. Vikram was so fantastic. So thank you, and you've been doing a fantastic job, Sri, and just keeping the conversation going, and just watching all the comments from the speakers is so and the people who are in the audience is so moving. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and we want to hear your story in just a minute, but I'm going to just bring Vidya in to hear from her. Vidya, where are you? Tell us your story a little bit, please.
I'm actually from Pune, and I'm representing the other side of the coin where I'm a caregiver. So it was wonderful to hear from Deb, Steve, because Steve is a care partner, and then the inputs that we got from Dr. Vikram Hoded is really helpful. Some of those I think have percolated down to school level also. So yeah, it was still good to see it reiterate, and everyone should know about it so that you can identify the different the way you can get stroke as well as it.
So you're a technical person, you're an AI and cloud solutions architect. Tell us how you came to be a caregiver.
So it was unexpected because there was no family history, and unlike the other person who mentioned in the comment, we were not so lucky to reach the hospital in time despite being in Pune. He had 3 seizures before we reached the hospital, so there was an intense period of critical illness. So he was in the ICU for a very long time, and with 3 seizures, really the prognosis was not very good. But today I'm happy to say, after, like you have mentioned, it's not a short journey. After years of therapy, he is back to working. And AI that everyone talks about, so he does have aphasia. So he sometimes is not able to read as fast as he was able to do before. So he has bounced forward. I just told him that maybe some of the family discussion gurus, maybe you can summarize it. So he's a technologist. He wrote something so he could summarize the WhatsApp messages, and he's good to go. So that is fantastic. His technology came, AI came into picture, and he's able to keep up with whatever is happening in the family group. So yes, we are in a good space.
Good.
But I understand what they're going through. Yes.
Tell us where you are right now.
I'm in Pune right now.
Okay, so we have 2 Pune, we have Bangalore, we have California, we have Mumbai. So this is a really global conversation. Folks, if you're watching live, please tell us where you're watching from. Please tell us how stroke has affected you or your interest in this topic. Everybody should be interested in this topic because it matters. It affects so many people. Mukul, you built a 47-year career as writer and editor and then suddenly couldn't type or write. What happened with your stroke and how did it affect of the sense of who you are. This book that you've been championing, this book, The Identity Theft, Rediscovering Ourselves After Stroke by Deb Meyerson and Steve Zuckerman, is so important. This idea of identity theft, talk about that and how you dealt with it, because I know you only as someone who cares immensely about communicating, talking, sharing, writing, being there with people.
Thank you, Sri. So in a way, as many people have said, a stroke can happen very silently. And that's exactly what had happened to me as well. I found one morning I was trying to answer some emails and I just wasn't able to type because my fingers kept hitting the wrong keys. It would basically, it almost felt like my hands had stopped listening to my brain. And the reason I discovered later was that in the beginning, I didn't realize I had had a stroke. I just thought it was exhaustion because I'd returned from a journey. And anyway, luckily, my wife and daughter, figured out that my symptoms were serious, and I was diagnosed with a pontine lacunar stroke, which is what happens when an artery that supplies blood to a deep part of the brain is blocked. And I lost the use of the left side of my body. And my experience was that the medical system here in the U.S. So I'm in the Princeton area in Lawrenceville, and I was in the hospital. I was able to get really quick treatment. They were able to diagnose the stroke. They put me into rehab right away. I was going through physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy. And the US system is unbelievably efficient at treating the physical dimensions of a stroke. What it is not that good at doing is basically helping you deal with the loss of the sense of self that happens. Because as you said, after 47 years as a writer and editor, I couldn't write or edit. So the question, as Deb said in her segment, I didn't really know who I was and whether life as it had become had any meaning anymore. I was dealing with that kind of depression. I was in a very dark place. I felt like my professional life was over because I couldn't be what I used to be. Luckily, what happened is, and to be perfectly candid, I'll say that I had reached out to a friend of mine to help me gather information about an organization in Switzerland that would basically, euthanize you legally and painlessly, because I felt that life as it had become had very little meaning for me. There is a well-known saying by La Pasionara, who was a revolutionary during the Spanish Civil War, who used to say it's better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. And I had that playing on in my mind. And though I was not actively suicidal, I did feel like life had no meaning for me anymore. That is when
Wait 1 second, Mukul. I just want to react to that as someone who knows and loves you, and I'm feeling very emotional at the moment, hearing that you had, of course, shared this with me before, but to hear this and you're sharing this publicly, it's to be in that place. I think underlines how difficult that is to be dealing with stroke, to have to be in a position to think that there's no hope anymore. And we heard from from multiple people that the hope is the most important thing. And you had given up hope, and even though, of course, your family, your friends, all of them were there for you. So that is something I want to make sure that people understand, that even someone as optimistic, as energetic, as life-loving as Mukul was thinking about the very worst option. And that's Wow, I'm so sorry you were in that position, and that tells you how cruel this
Well,
is.
it's the loss of identity, as I was saying. I mean, if you are no longer who you used to be, and you don't know if you like what you have become, that's what causes that depression. But the very positive thing that happened was that I happened to find identity theft. Uh, it was recommended to me by some algorithm because I was looking for a lot of information online. And so it was recommended to me. And the only reason I had not heard of Deb or Steve, but the reason, or Danny, who actually, her son, who wrote the first edition with her. But I bought it only because it was recommended and I had endorsements from two friends of mine, Adam Grant, whom you mentioned, and Catherine Klein, who were both on the faculty at Wharton and whom I knew very well. And I had huge respect for both of them. So when I saw the two of them had endorsed this book, I bought it. And identity theft saved my life. I want to be very, very clear about this. What it helped, what Deb had written and what helped, what I realized was that it reframed in my mind what it meant, what recovery meant. Because I had falsely assumed that recovery means, the recovery means going back to who I used to be. If you had a stroke, that's not really going to happen because there is physical damage to your brain. And so you can't really bounce back to who you used to be. You have to bounce forward, which is the expression that she used, and which Adam also has used in one of his books, Option B, which he wrote with Sheryl Sandberg. I credit identity theft with getting my mind in order. And once that was in order, I could figure out not going back to who I used to be, but what can I do now? Not grieve the capabilities that are lost, but what are current capabilities that I have, and how can I build a life of meaning around those capabilities? That insight is what I got from identity theft, and I am beyond grateful, to Deb and Steve for doing what they've done. I started using a lot of AI tools because I for transcription and so on. I wrote an essay about it, which is on where I talk about each tool that I used and how it's working. And if anyone's interested, they can go to my LinkedIn and
please find Mukul there and learn from what he's done. Thank you so much, Mukul. I just want to get to Vidya. So you've spoken about identity theft and the pieces of himself your husband felt he'd lost and the depression that followed for him. So what is the parallels you see, and how were you able to support him the way you have? What a wonderful family he nurtured, you nurtured to make that possible. And how do you make sure that you don't burn out in everything that you're doing for him, Vidya? Sorry, you're muted. Go ahead.
Yeah. As far as helping him out at that particular junction is concerned, initially I was not aware, as in I was busy with, taking him to the different therapists, being with him for a different therapist, understanding, waiting anxiously for the medical reports and all that. So this part that he was losing a part of himself on the emotional side didn't really impinge on me until sometime later. And then also one of the points that Dr. Charu was mentioning, it is not as streamlined as in US, so I did not know all the different therapies that he needed. So I was looking more on the logistics side. But once I sort of realized, I helped him get more in touch with his friends, ensure that his family talked to him more often, even if there were simple things that he could do. Like I mentioned, he's a technologist. I encouraged them one of the inputs that I got from Dr. Chalu also was on that point, that he can do the things that he likes, that he's interested in, even if it is a little bit on the slower side. So those were the things I did. As far as caregiving itself is concerned, yes, to a large extent, I didn't expect the burnout to reach that kind of stage, but it is something that I read a book from the caregiver side, which really helped me. To me, it was like a diary in which I did not have to write, because every sentence that I was reading helped me go through this journey. I used to read that on my phone when I was waiting for the therapy. So that helped me. I slowly realized that I also have to reach out to support groups. So I reached out to my friends, and I would spend a little bit of time regularly with them, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, to ensure that I nurtured myself so that I could give him the support he needed.
Thank you. That was so important that you were able to share that. I think the book you were referring to is "Who Cares" was the book that you were referring to. So that's from another perspective and very important. So we're going to pause this part of the conversation and bring you all back for the group session. But before that, we'd like to now bring on our CEO from Stroke Onward to talk to us, Liz Wolfson, to share some of the resources they have for survivors and their families, and really for folks to understand where they can go from here, what they can learn. So please welcome Liz Wolfson. Hi, Liz. Welcome to the show. I know you've been listening patiently. Tell us where you are and reflect, please, on the last hour or so.
Awesome. Thank you, Sri and Neil and Digimentors. It's an honor for our team to be here. Stroke Onward, as you've heard, is the result of the experience of Deb and Steve. And there is a team that has the honor of trying to figure out how do we take this one story and move it towards systems change so that the systems of care for post-acute stroke recovery are taking into account rebuilding and rediscovering a life, not just a body. And so that's the work that we're focused on. In that regard, one of our biggest launches happened within the last year, called the Stroke Onward Community Circle. And I know that we're going to put up a slide that's going to give you a QR code in order to join our community circle. And just like this event, it is for survivors, care partners, healthcare professionals, those who care about this type of whole person recovery. So just hit the QR code and you can join real life conversations, events like this. A number of our members are here today, and I'm so thrilled to see them. Thank you for being here. In less than a year, we have way less than a year, like 9 months, we are hitting over 1,000 members and representing all of these groups. So please join. It's not just for those in North America. We have members from all over the world, so thank you. Also, our website that continues to grow really has all the links to the books. We've talked about guides for the books, guides for those care partner groups or survivor groups who want to use the book in conversation with each other. Our founding story, the documentary that you mentioned, and we haven't talked about the fact that part of what Deb and Steve has done is that they got on a bike and rode across America, supporting these conversations in, I believe, 22 stops across the country. And so watch the documentary. It is incredibly inspiring. And then the last piece that you see a QR code about at the bottom is that, as was mentioned at the beginning, we are looking to continue to push Stroke Onward into communities across the country. And so if you on this event have any relationship to folks who are in the publishing world in India and can help us connect to make sure that the book is available and affordable, please fill out that form through the QR code, and we'll keep doing our work to getting these conversations to you. So that is the quick piece, and we're thrilled to be here. You can connect with me through the website, and our team will be happy to continue these conversations into practical approaches and applications. So thank you so much for allowing us to be here today.
thank you for help making this happen. So it's clear there are so many ways in which people can get involved, and especially I love that you want people from around the world. We have folks watching from Europe, from India, from across North America. We are so grateful to everybody who's here. Please look up strokeonward.org, strokeonward.org. Follow them on all the various social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and they also take donations, so you can support them. We're going to just make sure everybody understands that there are multiple ways you can help. Donating cash is great. Volunteering is great. Following on a channel, if nothing else, that's also great. But just get involved and help folks like Liz and her entire team make a difference in the lives of the various people who have been affected by stroke. So I think we're ready to go to Q&A and bring everybody back. So let's do that, Liz. Let's see everyone. So you're going to meet in a second again, Deb, Steve, the authors of the book, Mukul, one of the stroke survivors and a big fan of the book. Dr. Sanjay Nagral is going to be here, who's our ethicist. We are going to meet, and a surgeon, Dr. Vidya Bandari, a caregiver. You're going to meet Charu, Dr. Charu Raghavan, who's a neuropsychologist. You're going to meet again Dr. Vikram Huded, who is the president of the Indian Stroke Association, and Liz is here already. So let's have the giant show of everyone. Hi, folks. Great to see all of you. Thank you so much for being here. What an hour plus. I think we're going more on kind of what we call Indian stretch time than we are on American time, but that's okay. I know Sanjay said that he'll have a little late dinner, but that's okay for us as well to have all of you here. Let's just go through some of the comments and questions, but I'm going to go back to Steve and Deb just to reflect. They've been off camera the longest. What have you felt watching all of this?
I mean, just appreciation for y'all for making this happen. Mukul, it's just been a gift to us to get to know you and have you involved in our lives, and you really were the vision behind this session, and we can't thank you enough. I think it's
Look what happened just now. Jason just bought the book on Amazon. Everybody buy the book on Amazon. Get identity theft. I'm sure there are a lot of things on Amazon that are a different kind of identity theft. So here we're talking about, it's called Rediscovering Ourselves After Stroke. And look for Zuckerman and Meyerson. Look for their names and buy the book just like Jason did. And if you're in India, we want to find a publisher for them for an affordable Indian edition, because the prices are pretty high compared to, for an American book. So let's see if we can get that happen. Indians love reading, love books. So let's make that happen. And back to you, Steve, you were saying.
The audiobook is also really...
The audiobook, you were right. You remembered and I didn't. You told me the audiobook. The audiobook is there. The ebook is there. We want you to get the book in any way that you can to understand these important questions. Here's a question. Lois asks, what's the difference between the first and the second edition of the book?
Somebody go?
Yeah,
it's a lot of it is the same. We kind of updated kind of our story, 5 more years of living as a post-stroke couple, and then added 2 chapters at the end. The second, the first of those 2 chapters really just shared some observations and insights that we had in those 5 years. Won't take the time to go through them now. Maybe I have to say, just buy the book and go to the second to last chapter. And then the last chapter really was kind of a call to action towards systems change. It wasn't a plan, but rather just some thoughts. And this piece has a US focus, thoughts about what needed to change and how we might go about that. And, in some ways that is now the work of Stroke Onward, is to figure out how we can participate with others in collaboration to try to drive change to support the whole person in recovery.
I'd like to see the grief and the stroke success, the 20, the book is the the 22 chapters.
Yeah, so I'm just going to read you. Chapter 20 title is 5 More Years of Living, Working, and Learning Together. And
Yeah.
chapter 21, Building a Movement to Catalyze Change in the Stroke System of Care. That's more America-centric, but people will learn no matter where you're watching. Look at Keith. Identity theft is fantastic. I shared it with my therapist. And I'm also beyond grateful for this book. You heard that, I'm sure he has conveyed this to you. Mukul said this book saved his life, which is such a testament to something like this. We're just going to look through some of the comments that have come in. Lois also says there's identity theft toward the caregivers also. And we heard from Vidya in a very important, empathetic way that what happens to caregivers. So I know, Vidya, you will agree with this completely. Yeah, and let's see some of the other comments that have come in. Sunita says, Mukul, I've heard you earlier. It's a moving journey. All of you are underscoring that bouncing back is possible. Identity theft, therefore, will remain a significant contribution. How lovely is that? Shruti says, at Stroke Support India, for persons with aphasia, we have regular communications practice sessions. I host these group sessions for people. Anyone can join these free sessions. Thank you, Shruti. Please tell us in the comments where you're doing this so that people can understand. That's great. Shruti said thank you. And Kristen promises to tell everyone about this book. That's great. If you can afford to buy the book, please buy it. Otherwise, tell everyone about it. It will make a difference. It's a Nautilus Book Award winner. Tell us about that, Steve. What is that?
Just, when a book comes out, our publisher looked for places where it can be honored, and we were very pleased that early after its publication, it was recognized for its significance in the healthcare arena. Always helpful to get some external
recognition. Yes.
Recognition.
Exactly. We have a couple of more questions and comments, and we got to wrap up because we've gone way too long. But can one of our Indian experts please jump in and tell us what is the Indian government's role and approach and involvement in fighting stroke, helping people recover, et cetera, et cetera? Who would like to go?
Yeah, I will go. I think Indian government, in every state, I think it is different. Few of the states, they started giving thrombolysis free of cost, and few of the states, even mechanical thrombectomy, they are giving free of cost. So in that way, in Ayushman Bharat scheme, for stroke patients, there is a package where they can utilize that package and take treatment, not only acute care and also rehabilitation.
Great, thank you. And Dr. Sanjay, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that just to give a perspective. So, there is a lot of good intention, but I must say that access in India is still a huge challenge. And we as doctors must first publicly talk about it. For most people in India, all this 6 hours and 24 hours is actually a chimera. It's a dream. Because there are many states of India where emergency services are very, very limited. The second challenge, of course, is that our healthcare system, unfortunately, is still very expensive. And this is one of the things we should unlearn from the Americans, that we brought in private care, and that's a problem. Because for many people, entering a big private hospital is a shock in terms of the financial load. We are going the insurance way, which is not the best way, in my view. And we are going to see those challenges. So I think the government needs to step in. This is life-saving treatment of emergencies. There is an effort in the Ayushman Bharat scheme, which is the Prime Minister's scheme, is trying to cover a large number of Indian citizens now. But I think we have some way to go.
Thank you. Charu, Dr. Charu, your thoughts on this?
I don't actually have any thoughts on this aspect but I will say that, not about the government, but awareness and access, there are definitely issues for rehabilitation. there are lots of, so I did a survey in 2023 with some Indian stroke patients and caregivers, and while 80-90% of people had cognitive psychological issues as much as physical issues, only 7% actually took any kind of help for their mental health issues or cognitive issues, which is ridiculous. So I just feel like awareness in not just in the community, but also medical care system, and the importance to be given to this kind of conversation. I mean, that's what's got me here, honestly, because I want more people to be able to talk about it and think about it.
Srishti is from Pune and is practicing physiotherapist. Thank you for what you do. This is another comment from Shruti. Identity theft post-stroke is real. I'm a caregiver. Most of the caregivers share this as first points in their conversation. Impacts the person affected, and with aphasia, it makes it more difficult. And then suddenly you're known as Steve, I'm sure, encountered this idea, as Vidya did, that your main identity now is the caregiver rather than everything else you were before. And that's, of course, something that we can all think about. There's a long question that I'm going to read. If I put it on the screen, it's going to blow everyone off the screen. So I'm just going to read this very quickly. My stroke, this is Robin's question. My stroke occurred due to having undiagnosed fibromuscular dysplasia, FMD, of the internal carotid arteries. Are there any panelists here familiar with FMD? The FMD website is fmdsa.org. which needs to be more aware. There needs to be more awareness of this condition. Most doctors I've encountered are not familiar with it. It is a life-altering diagnosis. Thank you for all that you're doing for stroke survivors and their caregivers. So who knows about FMD? That is undiagnosed, fibromuscular dysplasia, FMD. Any, Dr. Vikram?
Yeah, so fibromuscular dysplasia, it is one of the type of disease which can produce stroke. It is uncommon, means it is rare. So most of the stroke case, what we see is because of the cholesterol deposition producing atherosclerosis. But when we do angiogram, we can identify fibromuscular dysplasia and we can treat accordingly.
So that's something that that can be done. While I have you, Doc, can you go through Be Fast one more time? And can you also go through what are the stress factors, risk factors for getting stroke? As we start to wind up, we have about 3 more minutes. So just very quickly, and then we'll go to everyone for a final comment.
Yeah, so Be Fast is balance if they're having imbalance. B for balance. I for vision, if there is a blurred vision or double vision. I. So F for facial asymmetry, if one side of the face goes to the other side. A for arm weakness, like if they lift both hands, one hand will go down. S for speech disturbance, either slurred speech or they can stop speaking. And T is time to rest to stroke ready hospital. So these are the warning symptoms which people can remember if they develop stroke, or if they see someone having these symptoms, they need to rush to nearest stroke ready hospital.
Coming to the put that on the screen, it may knock everybody off for a second, just so that everyone can see. Maybe take a screenshot, folks, of this. Just take a picture.
So here, the written time to call 911. Only in US you can call 911. In India, you need to. There are different numbers.
So that's good. But the same idea is that we have to be fast. We are going to be fast, right? So everyone, please take a photograph of this with your phone or share it, and look up the Indian Stroke Association's website and learn about the programs that they're doing there, because they're so important. And you were going to very quickly tell us the risk factors that we should all watch out for. I heard diabetes. I heard sleep apnea. I heard heart disease. I am like looking in a mirror right now.
The more commonest is hypertension.
Hypertension, yeah.
That's one factor for brain stroke. Okay. Then comes dyslipidemia, cholesterol, diabetes, smoking, alcohol consumption, atrial fibrillation, sleep apneas. All those things are the other risk factors. The number one, around 70% of stroke.
Let's put on the screen, use your CPAP machine. I think it's telling me to make sure I use my CPAP machine.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying the number one thing?
Yeah, number one is hypertension. And also, if you have multiple risk factors, you can do carotid Doppler And if there is a stenosis, we can give blood thinners. If it is very severe, we can do angioplasty and stent and prevent a stroke.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to do this in record time. Everybody has 30 seconds to give us a final thought. We'll start with Dr. Charu, then Dr. Sanjay, then we'll go to Vidya, and then I'll point out the others. But Charu, please, your final thought.
So thank you very much for this platform and for this very important conversation. I really feel like in rehabilitation, we need to start looking at who we are treating and not just try to bring functions back, but bring the person back. So I hope this is a step towards that kind of awareness. Thank you.
Thank you, Charu. Dr. Charu Raghavan, thank you for being here and for being part of our conversation. Neuropsychologist. Thank you very much. All right, we're going now to Dr. Sanjay Nagral, who is a surgeon and with the multiple organizations dealing with ethics in India, including the Indian Journal of Medical Ethics.
Thank you, Sri. And well, what do I say? I think we must learn from our patients. I think we must talk more to our patients. We must learn from them. That's the kind of thought I have when I look back at the last 1.5 hours.
Thank you so much. iijme.in is where you can learn some more of the organizations that he is representing. We're so grateful to him. Dr. Vikram Hudayat is next. Thank you so much from the Indian Stroke Association.
Thank you, Srinivas. As I said, brain stroke is a preventable and treatable condition. So prevention is the best option available. And if you develop stroke, you need to reach a stroke-ready hospital where we can give treatment by thrombolysis or thrombectomy. And even after that also, if there are residual symptoms, so we can do rehabilitation and patients can improve. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Vikram. And please, everyone, check out the Indian Stroke Association. And you know that there were more than 500,000 incidents of stroke in India just last year. Tells you how important it is. Thank you, Dr. Vikram. Over to Vidya Bandari, who is a caregiver.
Thank you so much for having me on this forum. What I really liked is that you're looking at it holistically, both from a stroke survivor's perspective as well as from a caregiver's perspective. So I really appreciate that. All the other inputs have also been very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Liz Wolfson of the StrokeOnward.org Foundation.
Yes to everything everyone is saying. Please join SOC, the Stroke Onward Community Circle, and let's keep the conversation going and continue to move towards systems change.
Thank you. When we end, we'll put up that lovely graphic you gave us of all the things that people can do to get involved. Let's go now to Mukul Pandya, who is stroke survivor, a member of the board and of Stroke Onward, and a dear friend.
So I just have 3 things to say. If anyone is in a dark place like I used to be, the first thing I would say is please remember there is hope. These days, with the help of identity theft and also the AI tools, it is possible to rebuild your identity into something better than before, both in terms of work and also in terms of doing things that are fun. The second thing I would say is experiment. Try as many tools as you can. Use transcription tools. Use speech to text. Use generative AI. Use the aphasia, the tools from places like 11 Labs that can help you recreate your own voice and create voice clones. Because recovery isn't just about restoring function. It is about rebuilding your life into something that is meaningful, purposeful, and hopeful. And my last point is, you are stronger than your stroke. Never give up.
Oh, so beautifully put, Mukul. Thank you so much for sharing that. Folks, that was Mukul Pandya, a great friend, and look for him on LinkedIn and connect with him. And by the way, I put on my email address here so you can also connect with me. And now let's go to the people who brought us together here, the authors of this fantastic book, which Adam Grant said, is a moving memoir, a testament to the strength of the human spirit. That's Deb Meyerson and Steve Zuckerman, and they're here. We'll give you the final word from all our panelists.
It is a long journey, and you can do it. Can't do it alone. Lean it and your friends and family.
Go ahead, lean on me.
Yeah.
He's leaning away from you there, Steve. I noticed that.
I'll reiterate what others have said, and Dr. Vikram, preventing stroke is critical. Improving rehabilitation is great. And if either prevention or rehabilitation becomes 100% successful, we'll happily go out of business. But until then, and I think that's forever, what other people have said, Dr. Charu, Mukul, we have to redefine what recovery means to not just be getting your capabilities back, not be getting back to your old life, but building a great life in the face of the trauma of stroke. And just really appreciate everyone. That's the movement we're trying to contribute to, and hope you'll join us.
Thank you very much. And folks, that was Deb and Steve, and they not only wrote this book that I want everybody to get, Identity Theft, Rediscovering Ourselves After Stroke, but you also must watch their documentary and get involved with strokeonward.org if you're in the US, or if you're in India, help them find a organization in India, publisher that will make an accessible Indian book. Let's just look through some comments and then we're out of here. This is David saying, ask Mukul about his wonderful essay and his co-authorship about creativity in the age of AI was central to his recovery efforts. Lois says, caregiver supports are so very important. Brooks says, thanks so much for sharing. It's wonderful to hear from our colleagues in India and to celebrate the ever-increasing synergies with Stroke Onward. Very informative, says Jonathan. Shruti says, thank you for this session. It's an important topic. Such discussions with families of stroke-affected people is very important. Sunita says, thank you for this brilliant conversation. And somebody who says they just joined, if you just joined us, as somebody has just said they did, you can easily find us on all of our channels right after we're off. It'll play again. If you get completely lost, you can email me. There's my email address. Or look at strokeonward.org and look for digimentors.group, where you can find the entire conversation. Now, I'm going to say goodbye while we put on screen the resources that Stroke Onward has. And I want to just say a couple of things while we show you that document. So I'd like everyone to pull out their phone as the document goes up with all the list of everything you can do. I want people to take a photograph or take out their phones and take one of the QR codes, learn about strokeonward.org or the community circle, or help us find someone in India to publish this book. These are 3 actions you can take. There's a supportive community, real conversations, curated resources, and live events and programs. And with that, we're going to see once again on screen all the folks, either by a card or reel, to see them, all the folks who are with us. We're so grateful to you. Thank you very much. What a great group of people voluntarily helping us, giving us their time to talk to you and share health information. Mukul, last word to you then.
I just want to say a heartfelt thanks to everyone, and I hope we can continue to work together to make the world a better place.
Thank you. And changing how people think about stroke and how they recover from stroke.
Right. Exactly.
Thank you. We'll say goodbye, everybody. Very informative, says Jay Vijay. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Goodbye. Strokeonward.org, everyone. Check it out. Bye-bye.